So my name is Anpao Duta Flying Earth. I'm the head of school and associate director of the Native American Community Academy. I think one of the reasons I got involved in the Native American Community Academy in 2006 was because of its mission to educate students under the auspice of culture and language in a way that enforces identity, but at the same time thinking of students as a whole child. So this idea of holistic wellness in terms of intellectual, physical, social, emotional, and also relationship wellness. And then this aspect of preparing students for college. I think one of the most interesting things about working at NACA in the early years was how organic some of these processes were around integrating culture, integrating language. In the very early years, we knew that we needed to develop our curriculum under the auspice of culture, and that there was no textbook, there was no curriculum that had been established that we could pick up and run with. So over the course of the past 8 years, there have been a lot of curriculum development around the exact notion of culture and language. To this day, we kind of use the term indigenous education, indigenous philosophy, indigenized curriculum, to really talk about what does the evolution of culture look like within the context of education. So this is where we really started to get into, like, what are the mechanics of our curriculum, and how do we develop and structure in a math class, in a science class, in a humanities class, in a language class, what culture looks like. So we began to kind of examine what traditional, quote unquote, traditional culture for natives has looked like. So I think back to when I was 13 and I was taught how to sing. I wasn't given a textbook on how to sing, nor was I given a songbook on how to pronounce words. So how do I take pieces from that learning and start to articulate them in this way? And so some of the pieces of learning that happened while I was a singer were: you need to be respectful at the drum. You need to treat the drum as if it's a relative. All of these were proverbs, if you will. Proverbs and things to live by as a singer. So we take that and transfer that into the class of, in terms of what are these overall 40-year rules? What should you remember in 40 years? Because I still remember that when I was 13, that you need to treat the drum like a relative. So how do we treat math like there's division in everything, or there is a formula that can figure out a tire skid on the road, and begin to think about the utility in an everyday life, but also connecting that back to math in a very real way. So creating this 40-year rule, but also contextualizing it in the everyday experience of students, and that's where the culture comes in. That's where you have to have a knowledge. So a non-native math teacher that comes in has a little bit of research to do, and I think that's something that we're very honest about. And we have this session called NACA 101, where we take all of our new teachers through to kind of orient. The other thing that we're doing around culture and language is getting back to the idea of how do you evolve culture within the context of education. Is creating a set of indigenous standards, a set of benchmarks, or a set of markers in the road to really say, like, at this point, this is when we know that our student is ready to go to college, and it deals with how well they're versed in culture and language, how well they're versed in their academics, and how well they're versed in who they are and their whole being. And so really taking that and putting that into the curriculum, really putting that into the everyday experiences of our students, putting them into the positions to almost one of the most important things is to demonstrate what that looks like. Because going back to my anecdote about a singer, is that I wasn't just taught about singing, I had to sing at some point. So really thinking about these tenets of culture, what does that look like? And realizing that as a school, we have a huge responsibility to proliferate some of these knowledge systems and to really help continue. I think back to when I was younger and my aunties and uncles were worried about the continuation of our culture and language, and I didn't understand what that meant. So I think I understand better to now. I want my students, my relatives at the school to understand what it means to be respectful, responsible, to how to persevere, how to give, how to the notion of service and giving back, reciprocity, how to reflect. What does culture mean within the everyday context? And so, and then how to provide examples of practice, how to articulate that to the extent that they're internalizing these behaviors. So even living in the city in Albuquerque, New Mexico, how do we teach? How do we teach our students with the support of their parents how to be respectful, young men and young women?